When you're having a rough day at work, it's easy to imagine how great life will be when you're finally able to retire. You can wake up with no commitments, no responsibilities, very little stress. Sounds ideal, doesn't it? But did you know that retirement can be hazardous to your brain health? In the next 3 minutes, we'll cover 3 studies that show a link between retirement and accelerated memory loss. And stick with me until the end when we'll talk about steps you can take to decrease this risk, including 3 immediate action items that you can take today. Ready? Let's go. In this study, 15,585 individuals were prospectively followed beginning in their mid-50s and underwent verbal learning and verbal memory testing every other year for 12 years. These are measures of episodic memory, and impairment in episodic memory is considered to be one of the hallmarks of early Alzheimer's disease. For verbal learning, the examiners read a list of 10 words and had the subjects immediately recall as many as they could. And then for verbal memory, the subjects were distracted with other tasks for 5 minutes and then asked to recall the 10-word list. So the total score is a combination of the immediate and delayed recall ranging from 0 to 20 words. The mean score of the subject who retired at some point during the study was 8.09 compared to 10.15 for those who worked throughout the full time period of the study. Verbal memory decreased for all subjects as they aged, but the rate of decline was twice as fast for those who had retired compared to those who had continued working. And these results were consistent even after adjusting for baseline health, socioeconomic status, and education level, which has consistently been shown to have a positive association with cognitive ability. The results were similar in this longitudinal study of 3,433 London civil servants between the ages of 35 and 55 at baseline who were tested up to 14 years before and 14 years after retirement. All cognitive domains like abstract reasoning and verbal fluency decreased steadily with age, but verbal memory was the only area that changed in association with retirement. While working, the average decrease in verbal memory score was 0.103 per year, but after retirement, this increased to 0.143 per year, which represents a 38% change in the slope of decline and equates to losing about a word of verbal recall every 7 years. When analyzed according to employment grade, those in executive or administrative roles had a less steep slope of decline compared to those in clerical or support positions during their working years. But after retirement, the apparent protective effect disappeared, and the rate of decline was more pronounced in the higher employment grades. Several explanations have been proposed for why memory deteriorates after retirement. One is that post-retirement activities may be less intellectually stimulating, and a second may be related to a reduction in social networks, particularly since late life social isolation is a known risk factor for dementia. This question was investigated in this 3rd study of 1,048 retirees in France, aged 65 and older, whose prior occupations were rated according to the degree of mental stimulation, such as creativity, autonomy, and problem solving, or social stimulation, so jobs that required meeting and interacting and exchanging ideas with multiple people on a daily basis. Cognitive testing was performed at 2-year intervals, measuring several domains. The researchers found that those whose work involved medium and high levels of mental stimulation had significantly better cognitive performance at baseline compared to those who worked in jobs with less mental stimulation, but the trajectory of change with aging was no different among the 3 groups. On the other hand, the baseline performance and initial cognitive change was similar among those with low, medium, and high levels of social stimulation at work, but the trajectory diverged with aging, and those with more socially stimulating careers had significantly steeper declines over time, even after adjusting for confounding factors such as baseline age, gender, education, and cardiovascular risk factors. Not bad, pretty close. A strength of these 3 studies is that the long evaluation period reduces the likelihood that the findings are due to reverse causality, or the possibility that individuals retired because of cognitive decline, rather than retirement being the trigger for the decrease in cognitive performance. This is especially true for the studies that looked at both pre- and post-retirement rates of decline, as well as the one with the younger subject group. The key takeaways from these studies are cognitive function decreases with age, but the trajectory of this decline is more rapid after retirement, particularly in the domain of episodic memory. More mentally stimulating work is associated with higher baseline cognitive function and lower rate of decline during the working years, but this protective effect appears to go away after retirement. The research behind the mechanisms for this cognitive decline is still ongoing, but these studies support the theory that reduced intellectual stimulation and decreased social stimulation are contributing factors. Given that most of us want to stop working at some point, what can we do? One antidote is to cultivate our friendships. And this doesn't require a full social calendar, but there's evidence to show that interacting with even a small network of friends and family several times a month lowers our risk of dementia. The second solution is to find 2 to 3 things that you love to do outside of work. Activities we take up in midlife as early as our 30s, but definitely in our 40s and 50s, can help us maintain cognitive function and decrease our future risk of dementia. In addition to physical activity, which is an important factor I'll cover in another video, pursuits we enjoy that engage us socially, intellectually, or creatively can eventually serve as replacements for the social and mental stimulation that we get from the workplace. Examples from different studies range widely, like reading, creating art, joining a sports or social club, doing volunteer work or participating in a community organization, speaking a second language, taking a class, learning a musical instrument, and even just playing games like cards or mahjong. So, as promised, here are 3 action steps you can take right now. First, get a library card and start reading just 5 to 10 minutes a day. Through most public libraries, this is free and can be done online. I put a link in the description to the Libby app, which has thousands of ebooks, audiobooks, newspapers, and magazines. And based on your location or phone number, the app will walk you through finding your nearest library. Your second action is text a friend and schedule a time to go for a walk. This checks 2 boxes for activities that help maintain our cognitive health. And your third step is text 2 more friends and form a book club or get together for a game night. Retirement is an enormous transition that we should look forward to and celebrate. But we also need to anticipate the changes that it will bring. To age successfully means we need to keep our bodies and our brains active and engaged. I wish you well, and I'll see you soon.